about a month in Todmorden.
Yeah, September the 15th we moved in. So, yeah, about 6 weeks.
Oh, is it 6 weeks? Good
It is.
heavens.
Yeah, I know.
And
Time's flying.
quite settled in now.
Yes, yeah. Feels surprisingly settled.
Feels like almost part of the town.
Yeah. And, well, what do we think of Todd?
I think it's great. There's so many great drinking establishments.
Yes.
I'm still finding rivers that disappear underground and don't know where they come out as
Yeah,
well.
you like all that, don't you?
Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Tonight we're off to Eagles Crag Brewery.
Yes, a very strange pub. Well, it's not strange, but the setup is odd. It's a brewery where for most of the month you can buy beer and take it home, but then just 2 days a month it's open to go and drink in. And one night a month, i.e. tonight, there's music on.
Yeah, so I think there's music on tonight and tomorrow, but it's our mate Nick Hall tonight.
That's right, yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
so about to go over there fairly soon. There's going to have music on at the Hare and Hounds as well, which is just reopened.
Yeah, I've been there a couple of times.
Yes, that looks okay. There seems to be a thriving music scene, actually.
Yeah.
There's, as I know, we're going to see Nick Hall this evening. I believe there's something musical on at the Fielding Centre, and bumped into Pit Fowler, who says he's putting on a music event as the Three Wise Monkeys tonight as well.
And there's usually something at the Golden Lion,
Yes,
isn't there?
almost certain to be something at the Golden Lion.
Yeah, so plenty of...
Quite a thriving music scene. We might have to have a chat with somebody who's a bit more involved in it fairly soon. But back to music later when we talk. We're going to talk to Jack Straw.
Oh, yes, you were with him at Whitby.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. A very interesting chap.
And more music was what I went to see on Wednesday night. Took 4 of the 5 grandchildren to see Joseph and the Amazing Technicolor Dreamcoat at the Todd Hippodrome.
Getting great reviews.
Absolutely amazing it was. It was so well done. Such a brilliant production. Yeah. I think it's only on for another night or so. But, you know, if that's the kind of standard they have there, then I'd recommend you go to whatever they've got.
It's a youth theatre that put that show on, isn't it?
Yeah. So I think the oldest ones there were 17 or 18, and, the rest were school kids. And it was absolutely superb.
You came back singing all the songs.
Yeah, we had to put them on YouTube so the kids could see them again, didn't we?
Yes. So what else? Oh, the U3A, University of the Third Age, we've got in Todmorden as well.
I know, we joined that, didn't we?
I know, yeah.
Went along to our first meeting there, which happened to be their AGM, but was also a man, I can't remember his name, but he'd written a book about walking across Africa, and he was there to talk about it. It was really interesting, wasn't he?
Yes, he said he sort of just thought to himself one day, I feel like doing something more adventurous than working in a bookshop. So I'll walk across Africa.
I know. We moved to Todd to be more adventurous. He walked 3,500 miles.
Yes, from the Namibian Skeleton Coast to Dar es Salaam. It was quite self-deprecating as well, I thought, because he said, "Oh well, when you watch these travel programs, people who go on about how dangerous it is, with snakes in particular, he mentioned, and lions and what have you, and then people warn you about bandits, and he didn't really meet any of them."
No, I think he saw a snake. Yeah.
Oh yeah, he took a photograph of a snake.
Yeah. But he left it alone, and it did the same to him.
Which is quite a good thing.
Afforded him the same courtesy, which is nice.
That's one of my favourite things that snakes do, is leave you alone.
Yeah. Yeah, so that was nice. And there's other things at the U3A, isn't there? There's Scrabble nights, which that's me sorted. Board games, walking cricket.
Table tennis, badminton.
Yeah.
Now you're really good or have been really good at table tennis.
Yeah, I might see if I can practice a bit and then perhaps join that team.
I fancy badminton. I mean, I've played badminton as late as the mid-1980s.
Yeah, it's a bit like me with table tennis, I think, yeah.
But willing to give it a go. A couple of people have asked us to join the cricket.
Not me, they didn't ask me.
No.
That was good reason, I think.
I sort of wish they had asked you instead of me, because I might have to have a go at cricket. Not really my game.
No, but
But
still.
I have done it.
And the next one we're going to is about numbers, which I'm increasingly interested in the older I get.
Yes.
More numbers I have behind me.
Yes, but you like numbers, don't you?
I do, yeah. More, as I say, the older I get, the more I like them. And each birthday I think, oh, how many products is of that? You know, say it was 54, which I'm still looking forward to being. It would be like 2, 3, 6, 9, 18, 27, you know.
Maybe you should be giving the talk about numbers instead of whoever it's going to be.
Oh no, he said something about Fibonacci numbers.
Oh, foreign numbers.
Yeah, Italian numbers. And sunflowers and what have they got in common.
Yeah.
So I'm looking forward to that one.
Yeah, well, that sounds interesting. Anyway, going back to the sort of music thing, I've just had a weekend with Jack Straw.
Oh, Jack's lovely.
Yeah.
Not the politician, Jack.
No, the proper Jack Straw,
Yeah.
not that
The ex-postman.
Labour MP bloke. Yes, ex-postman. Lived up at Sour Hall, just on top of the hill, not very far from my house,
Yeah.
but quite a way up. Yes, a lovely bloke. So I'll tell you what, why don't we just move on to my chat with Jack?
Okay.
So I'm sitting in Elizabeth's B&B in Whitby with Jack Straw. So we're up here for the Musicport Festival this weekend, Jack. So what's your role at the festival?
Well, I've got a very simple role, which is minding the fire doors from the old theatre into the corridor. So it just involves 5 2-hour shifts of sitting on a chair, making sure nobody wanders into the theatre when a performance is on.
Right, okay. And you've been here quite a few times, haven't you, to this festival?
I have. It's a great festival. There's always some wild and windy weather, but last night's wild and windy weather was particularly wild and windy.
Yes, it was. It's about the worst I've seen. I've been coming to Whitby for about 12 or 15 years.
It was. Elizabeth told me that it's actually blown the lighthouse at South Shields down.
Oh, really?
Last night. Yeah, so that's
They're quite sturdy things, aren't they?
That's fairly ferocious.
Oh, right. So back to the festival then. So what sort of is this the same job as you've had before, or have you done a variety of roles?
At Musicport, it's mainly this job and guarding the artist's green room as well. I've done that one before, and sometimes you just get asked to do other things. So sometimes if they're doing a sound check in the main hall, you'd be asked to just ask people not to go in while they're sound checking.
Oh, right.
They did that. I think they did it. They did this one-off festival called Norma Fest, and which Norma Waterson, unfortunately, was too ill to actually come to. And they had Peggy Seeger on, and she didn't want anyone in the main arena while she was sound checking. So we were stopping for wandering in. But while we were doing that, Peggy Seeger wandered past me, and I went to open the door for her and actually nearly knocked Peggy Seeger out. so that was nearly a bad claim to fame.
Yes, you don't want to be doing that. She's not a young girl anymore either, is she?
That'd be infamous.
Yeah, okay. And now we've worked together at the Beverley Folk Festival as well.
We have, Dave. That's how I got involved in volunteering at music festivals, because you kind of let me come along to Beverley. Probably in about 2014, I think.
A bit about that, yes.
And that's when were in charge of artist liaison, and I came to be a runner for artist liaison, which I really enjoyed because it just involved taking things from one place to another, passing on messages, making sure people were okay, and roaming around the festival site and talking to lots of people, which really suited me.
It's what you do best, isn't it? But also, I mean, you would get there on sort of the night before it all started, and you'd get your bearings,
Yes.
and then one of your jobs was to take people to their stages or their dressing rooms, which, to be quite honest, for someone who's registered blind, it's quite an impressive role to play, really. And I don't know if you noticed, but a lot of people, somebody would say, well, Jack will take you to your room, and they sort of saw you with your stick. They were a bit surprised with them. Everyone, you got them all there to the right places constantly.
Yeah. Once I'd worked it out, but Beverley Racecourse took a bit of finding your way around in the main stand. That were the difficult bit, but once I'd worked it out, it were fine, and it were a great way to meet lots of interesting people.
Yes, so tell us about some of the interesting people you've met.
Well, the best one really were Martin Carthy, because I got I met him a few times at Beverley, and I walked in on him once when he was practicing his guitar and taking him his food, which were really, because I didn't actually know he was actually in there. So it would just do what I'd be doing with my guitar, just twiddling about on his guitar in his room up in main stand at Beverley Racecourse.
Bit more special when it's a sort of a one-to-one.
It is
little
fantastic.
set with Martin Carthy.
Yeah, and then there were another time when he'd just come off stage where Eliza says, "Well, can you make sure my dad gets in his taxi?" So I carried his guitar all the way up through festival site and waited for him. For his taxi to come, which were lovely. So but is the main one really that's been really nice to meet, because a lot of time you don't want to bother people because they're getting in the zone for performing, and sometimes a lot of the time it's just going into a room full of people that are all hungry. And sometimes you have big groups of people, won't you? I remember somebody like Thea Gilmore, she had a lot of people with her up at Beverley, and but I really enjoyed it. Oh, and John Tams were another good one to meet. I really enjoyed meeting John Tams and his wife Sally. Yeah. When Home Service were on at Beverley, that were pretty special night, and I miss meeting Billy Bragg. Yeah, I met his manager, but not Billy Bragg.
Oh, right.
I just missed him.
Yes. Fair enough. Yes, but so there's quite a lot of interesting people. And a lot of the people all the other volunteers you've befriended as well over the years.
Yeah, that's the great thing about volunteering at festivals, is that when I used to just go to festivals as just a member of audience, sometimes I used to find if you go on your own, you can feel a bit lonely in a crowd. But going volunteering, you just meet all the other volunteers, and they're all lovely people. So you get to be friends with them, and then you stay friends with them, and you just see them every year then. And then you see them at other festivals too. So that's a really important part of volunteering at festivals, and it's something that I always mention it to young folk, because a lot of young folk who are always, of course, struggling to make ends meet, they don't seem to be aware that you can do volunteering at these music festivals.
Yes, and so you work a few hours, but you're into the festival for free.
That's it. It's a great way to spend your weekend, and without actually having bought a ticket, and being part of everything. And I think for me, it's nice to be part of putting the festival on. That's really nice to be able to do that, and to be able to see everyone enjoying themselves, and particularly after lockdown, that's been really nice. Like last night, when everybody were wandering past me as I was sat in corridor, minding that fire door, it was just nice to see everybody chattering away, smiling, carrying the pints of beer past, and just out on an awful windy night in Whitby, but enjoying themselves.
Yes, I was surprised how many people made it to last night, the Friday night, the first night.
Yes.
And I thought a few people might cry off, and perhaps some of them did, but everyone there seemed to be thoroughly enjoying themselves, getting back into the festival mood.
Well, you and I know, Dave, don't we? How awful it was coming over the moors.
Yes.
Yesterday.
Yes, I wasn't sure we were going to make it at one point.
No, and a number of people, I heard them speaking to each other last night, were saying exactly the same thing. People talking about arriving in Whitby with shaky legs after a terrible drive.
Yes. But fortunately, Musicport is in the pavilion. It's all indoors, so it's not too bad when you finally get here. Is it? It's not like some of them, like Beverley, when we were camping outside.
Yeah, once you're within the pavilion, once you've stepped inside from the North Sea, it's fine then.
Yes. So this is we mentioned 2 or 3 festivals you've done, but you've worked at quite a lot of festivals, haven't you?
Quite a few, because I did volunteering at Stainsby Festival when I went with Brian Todmorden once, and the one that they used to have. Near Hull at this big old country house called Cornucopia, which were lovely festival, but I just became a victim of when there was lots and lots of festivals. I think there were so many festivals at one point that I think they were just one too many festivals. And where else did I go to? And Fleetwood. I think I helped out at Fleetwood before in Paris.
Oh, so that's a lovely little festival.
Yeah, that when Alan Bell used to do it back then. And I'm trying to think of other ones. It were mainly Beverley. That were my main one. And Musicport. But I have actually done some others, but I can't think which ones they were. Because there were some that I volunteered at with my partner Alex. Oh, the other big one that I've remembered it now, Music on the Mar at Castle Carrick in North Cumbria, which was a very little festival. They just held on a village green, and that's the Mar. That's what they call their village green. That was a lovely little festival run by a man called Richard Johnston. They had one marquee and one indoor venue, and in the school, and that was a lovely little festival. It was the patron of the festival was Roy Bailey, so every year,
really nice chap, Roy Bailey,
lovely man, a real genuine national treasure, Roy Bailey. And we used to see him there every year, and me and Alex said there we'd do the festival desk, which I couldn't do it on my own because we'd be doing all the selling tickets and selling artist CDs and. So that took a bit of doing, but we were very good. You got to see lots of people, and you could hear all the music because you were just sat about 10 yards away from the marquee. So that was a good one, but that stopped. They were talking about not having any more before COVID, and then it just stopped with the outbreak of COVID, and I don't think they've had one since.
No, that's happened to quite a few of them. I agree with you though, Jack. There were perhaps getting to be a bit too many just before the COVID arrived. And maybe it's evening itself out a bit now because there's lots of them were losing money.
Yes,
it's not cheap putting on a festival.
Well, that's what I used to think. I used to think because you've only got so many people that go to these festivals, and if you've got a few of them going on in same area, say in northern England, they're going to be a bit thin on the ground.
Well, I remember the days when you more or less had to go down south to a festival.
They just didn't used to happen in the north.
But now we're awash with them. Thank God, I think it's great now. There's a lot of lovely ones about. I mean, we live in Calder Valley. Both Hebden Bridge and Todmorden have their own little folk festivals, and there's a few other things going on.
There is. It was great when they started having Todmorden Folk Festival. I think that must just have been a small group of people that thought there's going to be a folk festival in Todmorden. Another thing they had in Todmorden was that I thought about last night because I was speaking to a young man called Jack Wilson who does electronic music.
Oh yeah.
And they did have an experimental electronic music festival in Todmorden, and one of the venues they used, I think, was the Unitarian Church, and it was one of those festivals where there were just a few people spread out all over Britain that were really interested, but they all seemed to come. So that were a really good one as well that they had there.
Yes, and it's about people just saying to themselves, well, it would be nice to have a folk or electronic or jazz or whatever festival and just get on and do it.
Well, young Jack last night was saying to me about how I was saying to him about how with electronic music, because he was saying he'd stopped doing his music now, and I encouraged him to get going again. And I was saying to him how with all the folk musicians, they just always had the folk clubs and open mics to go to, just to keep doing the music and presenting it to an audience. And we were saying how I didn't know how we'd go on with the electronic music, but he would tell me that somebody actually had set up an electronic music open mic. Someone from Halifax had set it up, but they were actually happening all over the world now.
Oh, that's fantastic!
Which is great.
Yeah, I mean, styles of music keep evolving anyway, don't they? So
it is, and they cross over. They all bump into each other somewhere.
Oh, they very do, and very much so at this festival, this music port festival.
And say, let's do something together.
Yeah, because there was an interest in Ubunye, I think they were called last night, which was basically a sort of jazz band with KwaZulu gospel singers. It was quite an interesting sound, and you get quite a lot at these international festivals. I don't like to call them world music festivals. These international festivals where people will sort of like mix in with each other and influence each other's music, which is fantastic, isn't it?
You do. And somebody was saying to me yesterday that next year the Womex World Music Conventions in England. I think it's in Manchester.
Oh, right.
So that they were hoping that artists that were going to be performing at that, it's the same time of the year as Music Port, that they might be able to entice some of them across to the eastern coast of Yorkshire.
Oh, that'll be fantastic, because it'll make it a bit cheaper than having to pay for them to fly in from North Africa or bits of Europe or wherever.
Definitely. Yeah. Well, I didn't realise, but the man I was talking to was saying that it hasn't been held, Womex hasn't been held in Britain for about 20 years or something like that. At least 20 years. Quite a long time ago.
I didn't realise that. And that's the sort of, it's just a World Music Expo, isn't it? Sort of, where people who sort of perform and organise festivals, book gigs, and managers and agents all get together with the sort of journalists. I mean, magazines like Songlines will be there.
They'll be there, won't they?
Yeah, absolutely.
Fruits magazine.
Yes. Okay, so you're from Calder Valley.
Well, actually, Dave, I'm from Huddersfield.
Oh, yeah?
Don't forget, the land of the silent H.
Huddersfield.
We don't pronounce our H's.
No. But so you're born in Huddersfield, but you're brought up in the Calder Valley.
And I moved to Calder Valley in 1998 when I was 32.
Oh, right.
And there were two reasons for moving to Calder Valley.
Yeah.
One, it's a beautiful valley, and I just love countryside. And the other thing was the trades club at Ebden Bridge.
Yes.
Because I always used to sit in Huddersfield thinking, they've got another really good gig on at trades club, but how do you get to trades club when you don't drive and get home again? So just thought I need to be a bit closer to trades club in Ebden Bridge. So that were the two reasons for moving there. And we lived there, up on top of hills, on the tops, as they say in Todd.
That might be where we first met, I think. Was it
the trades club?
Definitely,
yeah. When Dave was the entertainments manager.
Yes.
And you were booking all artists then, weren't you?
Yes. That's going back a while now.
1990. So that's 1998. And so I moved there with all my family, and we lived up at Sowerall, up above Todmorden. And I used to go to work at Royal Mail in Halifax then, and until 2013 when they give me the boot. Well, they pensioned me off actually, but it was when they sold half its shares off, so they were probably sort of paring down the operation to be super efficient, so they could of cheap stamp prices.
But it gives you a new lease of life, doesn't it?
Oh, it gave me a great lease of life. It did. It did. It gave me the opportunity to think, would I like to try living somewhere really wild and interesting?
And where do you live now, then?
I live on a very small island called North Ronaldsay, which is part of Orkney Archipelago, just off the north coast of Scotland.
Mm-hmm. But you come back down quite a lot.
Yeah, at least once every month or two, to see my mum and my sister, my nephews.
So,
all my friends.
So what's it like living on a small island off the north coast of Scotland?
It's very interesting because you just don't know what it's going to be like.
For the answer to that question, you'll have to listen to our next episode of Real Voices of Happy Valley. Jack is so interesting, and we thought we'd turn him into 2 episodes. One about his volunteering at music festivals, and another about what it's like moving from the Calder Valley to a very small island with a small population at the far end of Orkney, off the north coast of Scotland. And that's quite fascinating too. So, if you like what you're listening to, make some comments, like our Facebook page, Real Voices of Happy Valley, and tell your mates about us. Okay, thanks a lot. Bye.